Am I the asshole for making a harmless joke about my formerly overweight friend? I've, 22F, been friends with James, 22 male, since we started college. Around 7–8 months ago he decided to change his lifestyle and be healthier. He was overweight but already lost a lot of weight and fitter. I was his workout, motivation buddy throughout these months, but lately he's been confident enough to do his own thing. A couple of weeks ago we went to a friend's party. It wasn't really a party, more of a low-key get-together. James is shy, awkward and tends to stick with me whenever we go to social environments with lots of people. But at some point this, tipsy girl came up to him and seemed clearly interested. She was ignoring me entirely. I was about to walk off when she asked me in front of several others if James and First are together. I laughed and joked that she wouldn't have asked me this if she had seen him last year. I was immediately told by some friends that it was a mean thing to say, and in hindsight James seemed a little speechless. The girl asked me what I meant and I explained that he used to be way chubbier. Then she shrugged and said he's hot, and would take him off me if I didn't mind. I thought this was trashy and just left. Afterwards I spoke to James in private and he seemed to have gotten his feelings hurt. I explained it was just a joke cause last year nobody would have assumed we're together. I mean the whole point of the joke was that he's considered more attractive now but I know his true awkward self and past. Am I the asshole in this situation? Yes, you are the asshole. Huge awe. You basically just told James that he is only worthy of love and affection when he is fit and attractive. You are the asshole. This entire post screams of, I'm hotter than James. You seem like you kept him around to be the fat friend, and now that he's getting attention, you're jealous. You think you're hot shit and because you're a girl giving James attention, like he's a charity case, he should be obsessed with only you. You are the asshole, embarrassingly so. 1 for implying he was completely undesirable when he weighed more, 2 for making it clear you thought you were better than him at the time. These are the actions of a bad friend and a shallow child. You are the asshole. Pro tip. When you start off a sentence saying, am I the asshole for making a harmless joke? Your joke wasn't a joke, it wasn't harmless, and you're the asshole. You are the asshole, you tried to cock-block him and you insulted him. Are you jealous that he gets attention? Do you fancy him and you're just lying to us and yourself? You either make a move on him or let him be, girl. Am I the asshole for giving my SOM wife a written performance review with suggested areas needing improvement? I, 33 male, share 1 child, 6 female, with my wife, 36 female. She has another daughter, 13 female, that lives with us full-time. We also have custody of our niece, 15 female. The teens are each other's best friends. They share a large bedroom which was done at their request. The dynamic here is pretty much mom and youngest against the teens, with me being the referee between everyone. My wife has taught the youngest, she can blame others for her actions to avoid consequences. She just says the word, one of the teens will get punished without question. There's no doubt, she is my wife's favorite. I love her, but she's becoming nothing more than an entitled brat. As just a mere example, my wife and I had an appointment we both needed to attend. When we came back, it was apparent the pool had been used. They're not allowed to swim while we aren't home. As the youngest divulged, "Mommy, I was in my room coloring, I never went swimming." The teen said that was not true, she had gone swimming as well. Only the teens were punished. My wife refused to give the youngest any type of consequence. I later found her wet swimming suit hidden in the garage. My wife and I argued. I felt strongly she needed to not only be punished for swimming, but also for lying. After a relentless disagreement, I was silenced as she gave the youngest a very minimal consequence. The lying, blaming and favoritism ultimately caused the teens to act out, understandably. Most of their consequences are done by giving more chores, specifically the chores the 6-year-old has. Or as recent, they were removed from music lessons as a consequence. I believe they're so frustrated they don't even care when they verbally attack their mother after her unfair treatment towards them. After all, they already get blamed and punished for things they don't even do. From my perspective, lashing out gives them a release. We've had countless, tiring arguments. She'd either not see her faults, or we'd agree to do this and that, but it was never actually done. I decided to write her a performance review as a SOM. Her areas in need of improvement, well, it was a lot. But I touched on how she needs to listen better, stop being biased. Be fair in all her decisions, stop making rash decisions without taking all 3 kids into consideration. I recommended her to give each child the same amount of one-on-one alone time to speak, or just be with one another. So it wouldn't be an entirely slap to her face. I gave her accolades on her strong points for other areas aside from parenting. I guess I felt this would work best, because I could organize my thoughts on paper without her interjecting. However, it quickly backfired in my face. She was quiet the first hour after I handed it to her. Then she completely exploded on me, said if we're going to do this type shit she'll get a private bank account and take half my paycheck every week. She further said the review was abusive, and a manipulative sexist move. Am I the asshole? The concerns you have are legitimate and it needs an urgent solution. But, the way you went about it is really unhealthy. The parenting of your children is not a project. You are not her boss, you are her husband and the father of her kid. Giving her a performance review comes across as really condescending and, as she said, manipulative. Are you her employer? Because employers give performance reviews. Partners do not give performance reviews. Your family, including yourself, needs therapy. A lot of therapy. A lot of therapy. You are the asshole. She should be listening better, but seriously? A performance review? What kind of reaction did you expect? You're treating her like a temp worker, not your partner. That was unbelievably condescending. You seem to have a you versus me mentality instead of us versus the problem. Y'all need to find a way to communicate better in a non-adversarial way. Time to get into couples counseling and talk about this like adults. What do you do when your boss give you a shit performance review or PIP? That's right, you plan your exit. Also, who give their spouse a performance review? Writing things out or having notes isn't a bad idea, but handing the paper to them like you're their unhappy boss was throwing jet fuel on the problem. Maybe consider couples counseling or something. The wife won't do counseling and the mill fucks with shit. I was ready to call you an asshole, but I can't. I think you acted in desperation because you see your wife favoring the 6-year-old at the expense of the teens. You have the additional fear of the 6-year-old turning into a manipulative brat due to your wife's actions. But did it have to be a performance review? Couldn't you have just written her a heartfelt letter? You've got problems bigger than a pissed-off wife. You've got 3 kids who all need a stable home and to be treated fairly and equally. And the teens need to be heard. Somehow you've got to convince your wife family therapy is in order. I'm going with not the asshole. Good luck. Am I the asshole for letting my father cause a huge scene at my engagement party and embarrassing my future mill? My father has many faults. I am well aware of these and therefore tend to keep our interactions private. I still love him and I have developed a system to keep him from fucking me over. When my fiancé asked me to marry him, I said yes. And then I went and privately told my dad about it. We had a nice dinner with my fiancé and that was that. My FMIL wanted to have an engagement party. I was fine with it. I just requested that she not invite my father. I explained that we had a strained relationship and that I preferred to keep him at a distance. She agreed. I guess she thought she knew better than me. She wanted to fix our relationship and the first step was inviting him to her home for a party with alcohol. When I met my dad for dinner, I specifically chose a restaurant that didn't have a liquor license. And we went right after work. His car has a breathalyzer built in to make it start. I know what would happen otherwise. When I saw my dad there, my stomach flipped. I asked her what was going on and she said that a good daughter would want her dad there on this important day. I asked her to please make him leave. She said I was being rude. I went over to my dad and asked him to leave. He promised to behave. He was so happy to be invited. I told my fiancé that I might need to leave in a hurry and he had to come with me when I left. He knows the whole story. He agreed. My father was fine at the beginning. Then wine came around. I glared at him and shook my head no. He took some. Then more. Then more. He started getting happy. That doesn't last. After dinner there were drinks. As soon as I heard him raise his voice, I asked my fiancé to leave. I faked a stomach problem and we left. The least embarrassing thing he did was piss himself and puke on the lawn. My FMIL is furious. She said that we should have told her that my father has a drinking problem. I said that it wouldn't have been a problem if she hadn't lied to my face about not inviting him. My father is humiliated that he did this. I am just numb. My uncle has no problem controlling my dad. He is a cop and he has come to several events with my dad where he kept him from drinking. My older brother's wedding, for example. But he lives in another city. He would have been at the wedding. I'm just angry that she lied and I'm embarrassed and I'm venting here because I need someone to tell me I'm not the asshole for not wanting to tell people my father is like this. Not the asshole. The why of your estrangement from your father and reluctance to have him at your engagement party is none of FMIL's business. She thought she was being so clever. In short, she fucked around and found out. Now your engagement party enters the realm of family legend. And not in a good way. Not the asshole. But I'll point out that your headline says, letting my father cause a huge scene. That's putting his behavior on you. You didn't let him do anything. These are the consequences of his own actions. Don't take that burden on yourself. Not the asshole. She fucked around and found out. I can't stand people that won't respect boundaries around family. You didn't want him there and didn't need to tell her why in detail. You didn't embarrass her, she did it to herself by deciding she knew better than you. Not the asshole. When someone says, do not invite this person, you don't go behind their backs. She had no right to question why you wouldn't want him there, and if she did want to know why she could have asked you, or her child if she didn't feel comfortable asking you. It's 100% her fault for inviting someone you gave clear instructions not to. I'm sorry this happened, but hope you have a wonderful wedding. Not the asshole, but oh man, do I hope this is not indicative of the issues you might have with FMIL. The details of why you don't want someone invited is none of her business. At first I thought she was well-meaning if very naive, but the whole part about a good daughter would want him there, and about being angry at you for not telling her. Those are really awful. Would I be the asshole for requesting a child be removed from my class due to his parents? I am an art teacher at a school in a small town. Recently I welcomed a new student to the class. He had previously been homeschooled but had begged his parents to let him go to normal school with his friends. He's a great kid. He has already fit right in with the class and he does really great work. My only issue with him has been that he does not ask to leave the classroom. If he needs a bathroom he just leaves. I'm not the strict, everything needs to be my way, kind of teacher, but administration has a very strict policy for students outside of classrooms during class periods. I asked his parents to come in so we could discuss it, to try to get them to help me figure out a way to get him to follow this rule. They arrived and seemed like fine enough people, but then saw my photo on my desk of myself, 28 male, and my husband, 31 They asked who it was and I was honest, it has never been an issue before. They later called the school to report me for inappropriate behavior in the classroom. Mind you, I do not talk about my husband in class. I am there to teach, not preach law. Administration is definitely with me on this, but honestly they have started sending some really rude emails to my school-provided account and I would like to honor their wishes that their child not be exposed to my disgusting lifestyle. I may be the asshole here because as good of a student as he is I just no longer feel comfortable with him in my class. He loves art class and there are no other art teachers at the school so he'd be removed from the course entirely, which I know isn't fair to him. But it also is not fair to me to be called things like groomer, and accused of working in a school to corrupt innocent minds with my filth. Edit. Forgot to add, they have requested I be fired and replaced. Edit 2. Gonna talk to a lawyer, but also we have talked it over and decided to move after the school year, going to go somewhere a bit bluer, thanks everyone. Not the asshole, I'd also want to distance myself from such parents. Unfortunately, the only person who will really be affected by their madness is their child. And I don't see how having a picture of yourself with your husband is so wrong. Unless you're naked on a bed with him. Not the asshole. Ever wonder why he was homeschooled in the first place? This is something for the school administration to handle. You should not have to put up with this kind of harassment. They need to make it stop one way or another. Edit. I read your comments about not feeling safe now. Your school and maybe the other parents need to have your back here. If they are already making a public issue of it, you might want to get police involved too. Not the asshole, but the school may not be able to remove him entirely, so I would advocate for another adult to be present in the room when you teach his class. You should also insist that any further communication should go through administration. His parents are already making false allegations, and if the administration is not willing to address their behavior, they at least need to take steps to protect you professionally. A lot of the YTA and ESH comments are ignoring the very real danger that the parents' behavior could be to your career and livelihood. Of course you don't want to punish a child, but if given the choice between your career and a child being in your class, there is nothing wrong with protecting yourself. Not the asshole. I would recommend that you make sure that you are never alone with the child in case his parents try to claim that you engaged in inappropriate behavior. If the child wants to speak with you alone, make sure the principal or another teacher is present.